Yay! Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you guys all here for what's going to be a really fun panel. I'm going to be introducing a couple of our incredible Newsies cast members, and we're going to talk all things Newsies casting and what's going on in the world right now for actors, specifically these two. And also I have my incredible music director, which I'm going to and conductor, which I'm going to show you right now, Mr. Corey Hirsch, everybody. Virtual round of applause.
Oh,
Let me introduce real quickly. We have, of course, the incredible Dylan Clena. Hey, Dylan.
Everybody. Guys.
And then, of course, we have the incredible Kelly Dorney.
Oh, hey.
So we're gonna have a really great time today, guys, and I really appreciate everyone being here. So what I'm gonna try to do, Gigi, if you can help me. Okay, now I think we're on microphone video. I think that's what's gonna happen. So now we're all gonna kind of move around as we speak, I think. Let me make sure. Oh, Zoom is fascinating.
I believe I'll keep an eye on it for you there.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, okay, good. So guys, first of all, how has quarantine been for you? Let's start with Dylan. How have you been doing?
It has been very interesting. You know, I'm a senior in college, so I'm finishing all my school, all my schoolwork, and all my classes are now online. It's kind of crazy. I've never prepared for something like this, so having to deal with it with all my classmates and as well as the entire community kind of going through it all for the first time is it's bizarre, but you know, we're getting through it.
Being a senior, that's got to be kind of crazy because you're wrapping up your entire education before going out into the world. And I know typically at Cal State Fullerton, you guys would be going on a New York trip. I'm assuming that's all
it's
canceled, right?
Yeah, so instead we're trying to put together a virtual showcase, and Corey Hirsch is actually my teacher, so he's great. And so yeah, we're trying to put together a virtual showcase of all of our songs, and so that we can have at least something to showcase ourselves.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So obviously, Dylan was going to be playing our Jack Kelly, and now how many times have you played the role before?
Oh, this is my third time playing Jack.
Wow.
But I will have to say that when I first did Jack, the goal was to do it at 3D.
I love it.
The goal 2 years ago was to do it. I was like, I did it at Moonlight, and then I
saw you do it there.
You came to the show, and I was like, oh, they're probably thinking about doing it. And so I was like, for 2 years, I was like, okay, prep, here we go.
I love it.
It's an honor to finally be able to do it with you. And
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited.
And yeah, your first show at 3D. So excited to have you part of the family finally.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
So bummed that we have to wait a year to do it, but it's gonna be well worth the wait. This cast is out of control. I can't wait for you all to meet each other. It's gonna be pretty incredible. So yeah, I saw you. I brought my whole family down to Newsies and saw it at Moonlight, and you were fantastic. And it was so funny. He, I had been like, "Has Dylan Clena come in yet?" Like asking Amber. She's like, "No, he hasn't come in." And I was like, "I wonder if he's coming in." And I had no idea who was coming in for the show or who wasn't. And I always have a clean slate when I go into auditions, and sometimes it can be harder if I've seen you do a part or if I know you, especially if I know you. It's harder to people think that they have ooh, I'm gonna have a good chance at getting this, and I say no to people that I love all the time. It's the worst part of my job. And but it was so funny. Like I was going to lunch, I think, and we were seeing the big open call line, and there you were, like within it, and I was just like, I was wondering if you were gonna be here, and there you were, and it obviously worked out. It was great. You came in and did such a killer job, and there was a lot of talent at that audition. It was just pretty incredible. So you should feel good about that. Mm-hmm. So Miss Kelly Dorney. Hi. So how I know for you, like many actors had things lined up, and you had projects that you were so blessed to have had, like literally like back to back. She was also cast in Mame at Musical Theater West as Agnes Gooch, which I would kill to see you play.
Hopefully you won't have to kill to see me play it. Hopefully it
yeah.
will happen.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for August for sure, because I know that's when they're trying to move it to. So how is that? I mean, that had to be all kinds of just devastating. How have you been dealing with like just I mean, it's not much else you can do than just then roll with it. But I mean, like, how have you been dealing with the emotional aspect of it, even of having these two kind of incredible roles come your way and then to have them luckily rescheduled, not taken away. So that's something.
Right. You know, I was literally in my car about to drive to my first rehearsal for Mame when everything just got shut down.
Oh my gosh. They shut it down at the first, like I didn't realize that. So you were like on the way to rehearsal and they were like, turn around.
Yeah, it was, so it was all very as it was happening. And I had just closed Andrews Brothers at ICT the weekend before. Right. So I'm very grateful that show actually got its full run. And I guess I have to say my personality is pretty easygoing, which is very helpful in a situation like this. Yeah. And I've also, I've been blessed to work on a cruise line. I work for Disney Cruise Line. And so I think that whole mentality of being cooped up.
Yeah. You're on a ship.
I'm basically on a ship.
You're on the transatlantic crossing, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I have Disney Plus, so it's really just like being on the ship. It's all the same. And you wash your hands all the time. And I think the hardest thing is to have known that you had 10 weeks of work lined up perfectly. And also that meant 10 weeks of insurance.
Exactly, yeah.
Or towards my insurance, which would have given me a year starting in October. And now it's like, you might not even get 6 months, which as an equity performer, people will understand how precious those weeks can be.
Amen. I remember you said that when you were having to decide between two offers, an offer with 3D and an offer with and you ended up having to, because it was one extra week, and you had told me it was like you had 1 year where you were shy by 1 week of getting your insurance. And so a lot of the times as an equity actor, you have to go with not even always, even though McCoy Rigby could equally be your heart as well. So but sometimes taking the theaters out of it, you sometimes have to go with the smarter decision for your own literally physical well-being than you have to with your heart sometimes too. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'm so thrilled to have you guys here. I also see some incredible other cast members. We have our Les, Daniel. Where are you?
Les.
I know. Man. Where are you? I'm trying to find you.
Look at that.
There he is. He's playing our Les, everybody. He's just the best. He's the cutest. And,
Hi.
Right, I know they're all meeting each other for the first time.
I love it.
We have our stage manager, Talia. Where are you at? Right here, Talia. Stage manager, who is the mama to the cast and keeps it all together. And then I think I saw, Kyle. Let me pull you up. How do I do that? I'm gonna learn how to Zoom. Oh, I don't think it's letting me. But anyway, Kyle Goldman's here. He's amazing. He's one of our newsies. So yeah, it's gonna be such a fun. I cannot wait to get to it. So why don't we real quick? Why don't we start with Miss Catherine's song? Why don't we dive into a song real quick? And I'm going to help set this up. So everybody, we know that like Zoom is an amazing gift to us all, for us all to be able to connect. And we're gonna sing this song, and then I want to talk to Corey. I want to talk to Corey about musical, about casting. I want to talk to both of you guys about the casting process for anyone who's never auditioned for 3D or who wants to kind of know a little bit about what the casting process is like in general. And then just so everyone knows, we had teched this like a little bit ago, and everyone's internet speeds are going to be different. Everyone's sound is going to be a little bit different. Both of these people have big old voices, so they have to also kind of cheat sometimes off camera so that their microphones don't go crazy. But yeah, and also these are completely untouched, unrehearsed. These performances are just incredible on their own, and we haven't even had a chance to work them yet. So I am so excited to get to do that in a year. But, yeah, let's go ahead. Kelly, take it away. This is, look, setting it up. Sorry. So Catherine in the show, I won't reveal too much about her in case you have been living under a rock and haven't watched it on Netflix, or I think now Disney Plus, or seen it live, or seen the movie. Well, actually, she doesn't exist in the movie, so that doesn't matter. But Catherine was a character created and kind of changed from the film. Bill Paxton played it in the film, and thankfully, the people who wrote the stage musical wrote a vehicle for a woman, because the show is the movie had no vehicle for a woman, and so it was good that they did that. And she is a pioneer. She's a woman who is trying, in a very much a man's world at the time, turn of the century, trying to make her way as a journalist, and comes upon these newsies and smells a story, and ends up thinking she's going to be able to use them to achieve kind of the next step for her, because right now she's kind of doing like society columns, which is like, where they put the ladies, but she knows she has so much more to give than that, and a lot more in her soul and in her gut. And so this is her knowing the pressure of what's to come, and this is her trying to figure out how to write this story and how to belt her face off. Right. So Kelly Dorney, take her away.
Okay. Write what you know, so they say. All I know is I don't know what to write, or the right way to write it. This is big, lady, don't screw it up. This is not some little vaudeville I'm reviewing. Poor little kids versus rich, greedy sourpusses. It's a cinch, it could practically write itself. And let's pray it does, because as I may have mentioned, I have no clue what I'm doing. Am I insane? This is what I've been waiting for. Well, that plus the screaming of 10 angry editors. A girl, it's a girl, how the hell is that even legal? Look, just go and get her. Not only that, there's the story behind the story. Thousands of children exploited, invisible. Speak up, take a stand, and there's someone to write about it. That's how things get better. Give life's little guy some ink, and when it dries, just watch what happens. Those kids will live and breathe right on the page, and once they're center stage, you watch what happens. And who's there with her camera and her pen? As boys turn into men, they'll storm the gates, and then just watch what happens when they do. Picture a handsome, heroically charismatic, plain-spoken, no nothing skirt-chasing, cookie little son. Lie down with dogs and you'll wake up with a raise and a promotion. So he's a flirt, a complete egomaniac. The fact is he's also the face of the strike. What a face. He's the fact that's a face that could save us all from sinking in the ocean. Like someone said, power tends to corrupt. It's absolute power. Wait, corrupts? Absolutely, that is genius. Just give me some time. I'll be twice as good as that. 6 months from now. Just look around at the world we're inheriting and think of the one we'll create. Their mistake is they got old. That is not a mistake we'll be making. No, sir, we'll stay young forever. Give those kids and me the brand new century, and watch what happens. It's David and Goliath, do or die, the fight is on, and I can't watch what happens. All I know is nothing happens if you just give in. It can't be any worse than how it's been. And it just so happens that we just might win. So whatever happens, let's begin.
Dude, that was good.
Amazing. You are just so killer. I'm also seeing like more of our Newsies family and past 3D family on here supporting. Sounds stunning, and it's technically a patter song. There's no places to breathe in that thing, and the change of motion is insane, and it's going to be so much fun to dive into that with you and sit in that Studio B and just dig into every moment. It's something I'm very much looking forward to. And when you get the opportunity to work, you just leap to it. She's so fun and funny and always finds like the unique, I call it like the Phoebe from Friends, where she can turn like, hi, how are you, into something funny. And that's definitely a Kelly Dorney thing. So Kelly, you and I first met, you were our, Anytime Annie, different show. Ain't no Annie, the other Annie.
Anytime Annie in her own.
That's what is in my head. She's definitely an anytime, anywhere Annie. But she was brilliant in Oklahoma, and then again got to do Phoebe in Gentleman's Guide, and now Newsies. So it'd be her third go around with us, and a lot of fun to have you back. So real quick, why don't we, before we hop into some singing some Santa Fe, Mr. Dylan, why don't we talk about the casting process? So Corey, we saw literally hundreds of people, and you played for all of them. And let me spotlight your video. Where are you? Hello. So Corey Hirsch is an incredible man and one of my closest friends. He is a Juilliard graduate. He his career has literally, like, it's embarrassing the things that he has done at his age, because he's a young man in the grand scheme of life. And he's also the conductor and head of all things at Pageant of the Masters. He's amazing, and has done many shows for us. But you and I haven't gotten to work together since, has it like Full Monty? Is that the last time we worked together?
Was it Joseph? No, it was together it was
and you've done stuff for us since,
you being a director, yes.
Yeah, you and I haven't worked together since Full Monty, so this has also been a long time coming. Yeah. And you played for each and every one of those auditions, right? You saw everybody.
If I don't play for auditions, I never get to play piano. So
amen. Yeah.
And also, for me, it's very important that people who come in audition, they get to be musical, and I want to make sure that I'm following a leader. When we're casting leads, I need you to lead. So I'm looking for someone to be risky and try things and be dynamic. And when I get inspired by your performance in the casting room, then I know I have a lead. And that's what's really important to me. It's not just me sitting there checking things off. I don't like being behind the table. I want to be part of the process of you being creative.
Amen. Yeah. And Corey also is one of the music directors over at the Disneyland Resort. And he actually, I kind of am honored, because like he doesn't really musically direct or conduct a lot of theater. It's basically, he makes time to squeeze stuff in for 3D, which I always am just so grateful for, because he's one of the best. And yeah, it's just amazing to work with you. So what was it like? Not Corona cough, everyone, not a Corona cough. What it's the word. Have you all found when you go out and you have to go grocery shopping or whatever, and it's like the power of suggestion, you're like, don't sneeze, and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, right.
And you like feel it coming on, or you have to cough, and everyone looks at you like, like, what are you doing out? And I'm like, it's not Corona. Anyway, so with
funny, I live in Corona. Basically, I live in Chino, And so we feel like, oh, I'm going to Corona County. Yeah, wonderful.
Amazing. So for you, when we got to the callback process, when we finally got it down to that, place,
Yeah.
for specifically like Dylan and Kelly, I know we had some incredible options, which was such an amazing thing. Like you only need the one person. So if all you have is the one person, like that's always, hooray, we have the one person that we need. But with this, it was such a blessing because we really had, we could have cast the show a few times over in different ways. When you're trying to put the puzzle together, it's like who fits best with who and who's going to tell the story that we want to tell within the structure of Newsies. And for us, our whole team wanted to take the Disney veneer and kind of scruff it up a little bit so that we could just tell the meat of the story that's within there, which is truly like we want to give the audience what they're expecting, which is a dance and song like spectacle, and just to give them all of that, but then and more. You want to make people lean forward and have to look at it and listen to it as though they're seeing it for the first time. And this is really is a life or death kind of show. These kids are out there not being kids and having to help support their families, and it was feast or famine, and there was a lot of tragedy that happened within this. And so even in the score, we would talk about how even when it's angry, it sounds happy. It's so interesting which is great, because we definitely need that right now. We need to go to the theater and be entertained and be happy. But I'm excited because I feel like we got actors that are really gonna dive in both vocally and acting wise and commit to the dance portion of it as well in a really meaty way. So what was it about these two actors that kind of pushed you over the edge?
It's tough because I'm fans of theirs. Dylan's also a student of mine, but I look at them from somebody who is by their natural ability. And Kelly's just willingness to do whatever is necessary to make the show amazing. And she nails it every single time. Maybe she doesn't realize it, but every single time she does something, it's amazing. And Dylan he has so much charisma, and Jack has to. It just has to be. They have to lead so well. And the thing about the veneer of the show, it's visually exploitive. I mean, we're watching this show happen, and we want to be wowed. But the two leads, major leads, have to garner our attention. They have to make us look at the dancing and the production value secondary. And unfortunately, with this show, we're so used to making that a big priority. I would hope that coronavirus is going to make us see theater differently. We have to allow our audiences to be emotionally and intellectually stimulated. And leads need to know that the 2+2, we talk a lot about in writing shows, makes our audience work harder.
Yeah.
And Kelly and Dylan are very smart, and they're gonna not just put the words in our face, but make us lean in, like you were saying, to this story. It's kind of ugly what happened, and considering some people are having to do new jobs they've never done before just to make a living, it's a little bit more appropriate, a little bit more close to home.
It's interesting. I thought about that, about how sad it was to have to move it, but because I felt like it was timely now anyway, but it's going to be even more so, I think, when we do it, next February, in just how it speaks to a human, you know what I mean, and what it means to have to fight for everything that you can. And I agree that while the two of them are among this whole cast of players, that we put these poor people through it, like not just even the two of them, but all of them, because this show is like, can you not only do it, but can you do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again? And the Newsies, man, they danced until I felt like their limbs were about to fall off, because they were it was so many different combinations and so many, all this stuff. And the two of them had to come in and sing multiple times and then read with multiple people. And it was such a testament to stamina for everyone that was in the room, whether they were cast or not. And plenty of people that weren't cast that were certainly capable and incredible. And what I think about, you're talking about how the leads and everything, and what I think was what we try to do, of course, and I think everyone tries to do this with every show, but I think that I only can speak for us, that we really succeed a lot of the time in casting leading people in every role, all the way into the ensemble, because a show is always only as strong as its weakest link, right? So if you have, an entire cast of incredible storytellers, like, Kelly can not only sing her face off, but she's gonna juggle while tap dancing. What? Because King of New York, while I love a good tap number in a show, the thing that I love about the film is how much they use the environment. And I mean, you can't have ceiling fans in a show that people are swinging from, but using the environment more. And so, Chaz, as soon as he found that you could juggle, he's like, okay, what on the tables can she juggle while she's tapping?
What those objects are first, because I have only experience in juggling balls, like actually.
Well, now you have time. So now you have time. We'll let you know. We'll drop ship them to your house, and you can figure it out. But no, it's
I'll get it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even speaking to like Kyle, who is in the room right now, Kyle Goldman. He came in for us for Parade, for Younger Soldier, and is a beautiful actor and has a stunning voice. And so he also so it's like, and all the way through our cast, we have Norman Large as Pulitzer, and just like an entire group of people that are committed, incredible storytellers. So I'm so excited about that. Okay, so how about, so Dylan, for you, I know you're like still in college, but you've been around your own block, man. I mean, like, you've done a lot of stuff for such a young man. So for you, what was this casting process like? And, was this your first 3D audition?
Yes.
It was. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is great. So
for you, and how does it differ maybe from other places?
So I've never been to an open call before, so that's like, I don't have any representation. So going into it, it was kind of, I was a little nervous before I got to the audition, but then I knew a lot of people in the line, and I work well off of like other people being in the room. And when I know people, it's like, it helps it
alleviates
stress. Yeah. So I feel very connected to the room, and I love building off of people's energy. So when I got there, I was stressed. And then when I was waiting around for a while, I didn't feel that stress anymore. And the open call, it was an interesting experience. I've never been in one. So I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like, I'm having a good time.
We all do. It's a part of the journey, right?
Yeah. And then I got called back, and the callback was really, really, it was cool. I had a good time. I talked to the other people going in for Jack, and I got to know their stories a little bit too. And reading with Kelly, I don't know, man, reading with Kelly, when we read together, I was like, God, that just felt so good. And I was like, oh, I hope it's us. I hope.
Yeah.
But no, it's really the great thing about 3D is that it's so welcoming. Like, you guys are so welcoming, like even in the audition room, like with Amber, and it just was so comfortable. And
I think we try to remember, like, Amber is still an actor, and I will dip my toe in every now and again, because I feel like it's so important. And I think that people, like, everywhere on the production end, from whether it be a producer, a choreographer, a music director, whatever, you can forget what it's like for what actors have to do and what they have to put themselves through emotionally, physically, financially, all of it, the investment in just auditioning alone, from the gas to printing out your stuff to, all of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we want to make sure that people, when they come in, because that may be your one show, you know what I mean? Your 5 minutes in the room may be it. And we want to make sure that it is a good 5 minutes in the room, and that you feel valued, and that we, so I'm so glad that comes across, because we really do genuinely mean it. We want people to enjoy their time, especially when they do get to the callback process, because we give a lot of material.
Yeah. No, that was
Understatement.
no, what was cool about that was that it was different for everybody. Everybody's callback was different, and so I think that I think that's what made this so interesting and kind of cool is that everyone kind of had their own experience.
Totally.
And I felt grateful for that because I ended up not comparing myself to other people and really not comparing situations because I was in the moment with you kind of giving me notes as we went forward and being in the room with Corey. Corey, you're a genius. I'm a big fan.
He's so great at empowering. Yeah, so great at empowering artists and grounding a room. And I think I think initially at the top of a callback, it's a lot of the same. And then as we start to kind of narrow it down, we do try to get people on their own journey so that because you can hear what's in the room before you. And we want to, oh, they had them do that twice, or, oh, they had them do that scene and they didn't have me do that scene. And, oh, but I got to do this scene. And no, I haven't heard anyone else do this scene. And it's because we were just we know certainly once we've seen you, we're like, oh, we don't need to see that scene because we've already seen this part of them in this other thing. Let's spend some time on this, or let's do this out of order. Just again, to give each person their own journey so that you do get out of your head and try not to compare about what's happening in the room before you or after you. So again, I'm glad that helped your nerves and helped your brain out there.
Oh, of course. No, it was a great process. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be in that room. It was a great feeling to have.
Yay. Well, let's why don't we go ahead and get into some Santa Fe.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hold on, I gotta shift some things.
While he's shifting, this is another incredible and iconic song to the show. Jack has just for those of you again, if you've lived under a rock, Jack has is the kind of figurehead for this movement, revolution, if you will, that is happening within the Newsboys, and has just witnessed all of them get beaten and dragged off to jail or to a basically like a house where they keep these children in like deplorable conditions with rats and bugs and sleeping 3 to a bed and all kinds of stuff. And he saw his best friend, his brother, basically, because family is not just, it's beyond blood, right? And his brother get dragged off crutchy. So it is, it's a very, very emotional and very, what's the word I'm talking? A vulnerable moment for him where he's really trying to figure out what comes next. So here we go with Santa Fe.
All right. Folks, we finally got a headline. Newsy's crushed, but Bulls attack. Crutchy's calling me, dumb grip's just too dang slow. Guys are fighting, bleeding, falling, thanks to good old Captain Jack. Captain Jack just wants to close his eyes and go. Let me go far away, somewhere they won't ever find me, and tomorrow won't remind me of today. When the city's finally sleeping and the moon looks old and gray, I get on a train that's bound for Santa Fe. And I'm gone, and I'm done. No more running, no more lying, no more fat old man denying me my pay. Just the moon, so big and yellow, it turns night right into day. Dreams come true, yeah they do, in Santa Fe. Where does it say you gotta live and die here? Where does it say a guy can't catch a break? Why should you only take what you're given? Why should you spend your whole life living trapped where there ain't no future? Even at 17, breaking your back for someone else's sake. Well, the life don't seem to suit ya. How about a change of scene? Far from the lousy headlines and the deadlines in between. Santa Fe, my old friend, I can't spend my whole life dreaming, though I know that's all I seem inclined to do. I ain't getting any younger, and I want to start brand new. I need space and fresh air. Let them laugh in my face. I don't care. Save my place. I'll be there. Just be real is all I'm asking, not some painting in my head. 'Cause I'm dead if I can't count on you today. I got nothing if I ain't got Santa Fe. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Beautiful job, Dylan. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So I have to ask, how's your family doing? How's everyone doing?
Oh, they're great. I mean, being at home, it's weird because I live in an apartment in Fullerton during the school year. So being at home is really nice and a lot of fun. My brother actually is with us and his wife are with us.
Nice.
They got out of the city, which is good. So they're here right now, and I don't know, that's
got to feel cool because you get to, like, you're all under one roof for a minute. That's got to be really nice. So for anyone who doesn't know, his brother is Derek Klena, who's taken Broadway by storm from the original Anastasia to then now Jagged Little Pill. And is their show's still scheduled to come back, right?
Yes, they just extended the quarantine for them until like June 7th. So,
Okay.
Yeah, but they're coming back. They're gonna come
Yeah.
back.
And now you'll be graduating and go take New York by storm. You'll be like a brother duo. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you. No, that's what's been the best thing about the quarantine, I feel like, is just my entire family being together. And I don't know, you get this like warm feeling inside when your family's together. So
that's awesome.
And having and that's why that's personally why I connect with Newsies, especially, is the family atmosphere. And like really, you know, he's like he's like basically the father figure for all these kids, Jack is, and having that relationship with Crutchy and stuff is kind of equivalent to like my relationship with my brother, and like how we're always there for each other and always going to be there for years to come.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I saw Jenna Stocks. Let me see, where are you? Hi, Jenna. Jenna, I'm gonna spotlight you for a second. So Jenna is another one of our incredible cast members who was put, she is one of 3 women that booked the ensemble in this show. And it was cutthroat. Was that not crazy, Jenna? Like how many incredible women were in that?
That's the hardest callback I've ever done in my life.
You're welcome.
Like 6 hours, and it was awesome. But like when I left, I had no idea because I was like, anyone could get it. Like the room was that good.
It was insane. We were blown away, and it was so hard. But like, at the end of the day, like the women all had to do everything. Like they all had to be able to read lines. They all had to be able to sing their face off. They all had to be able to dance like women and dance like tomboys. You know what I mean? Like, cause they all double it in moments as Newsies. And Jenna is incredible. Like I know you have New York, and I think that is a place you will do very, very well when you're ready to go. Cause she's insanely talented and a part of this incredible cast. Again, I can't wait for you to see. So everybody, I want to open this up to some Q&A where we can either any of the actors, Corey, myself, can take any questions, whether it be about the casting process, about how do you attack a role, you know, keys to booking, you know, keeping relationships up and booking at places more than once. I don't know. could be a million and different one questions. Does anyone have, if you raise your hand so I can see you in the screen.
If you raise your hand, the first one I see, I will unmute and announce you. Oh, Josh. Hold on. Josh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
So question, as someone who would like to be working in professional theater within the next few years to come, I'm in college right now. Just did West Side with TJ. Miss you, TJ.
I miss you.
Good to see you. So happy to be here. Just ask for any like advice, tips on like how to prepare yourselves to be moving into the professional world, and like what should I be doing now to prepare myself for an audition, like something that would be at 3D theatricals?
Maybe like Kelly, can you take that?
Sure. And I'm so sorry, Josh, you said you're going into what year? What grade?
I'm a freshman currently, so next year I'll be a sophomore.
Okay, great. Honestly, practice, experience, going out and auditioning. I mean, having that kind of being able to go into a room as an actor and thinking of it only as like, this is my chance to perform, and this is, I'm gonna quote unquote book the room and meet these people and show them what I've got, and not just going into it thinking this is my job opportunity and this is the only chance I'll ever have to do this. It gets very draining, because we go on a lot of auditions as actors, and the more you can do that and have it become just part of your daily routine almost, the better it will be for you as you get older and start to go into it as a professional, because there's no reason you can't be doing it professionally now.
Dylan's a good example of that, because he's still in school and he's booked many professional regional jobs. So I think that is a great bit of advice. And Josh, I think the more you get out there, practice makes perfect. Also, we're a place where we value like relationships. So like I have a relationship with you because I've gotten the pleasure of working with you at the university and directing you in West Side. So, you know, if you are like, I'd love to come. I think Kelly has a really kind of an advantage too, because she also sits alongside a casting director, Julia Flores Casting, and works with her and gets to sit in on audition after audition after audition after audition, which honestly, watching auditions, y'all, if you ever get the opportunity, is just the most educational thing you can possibly do for yourself, because it empowers you to you get way less in your head about what you're doing, and you see a lot of do's and don'ts, and I think you just audition better when you watch others. So that even audition workshops and classes and stuff. But Josh, just email me and you can come in at some point and watch an audition or callback process or both or whatever for 3D, because I think you'll learn a lot from that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. We've got Diana and Luca up next.
Okay,
Thank you, Josh, for your question.
I saw you, Richie Ruiz too. So we'll get to you as well.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me just unmute.
Hi,
Diana, Luca.
Hi. Hi. I was wondering, like, how, if you're like in a professional show and it happens to be during a school year, how are you able to balance those two things?
Dylan, take it away.
Okay, so what grade are you in? Can you give me
I'm going in the freshman year next year for high school.
For high school, okay. So you probably have a theater program at school, at your high school.
OSHA.
OSHA? OSHA? Congrats, that's fun. That's exciting. No, so that's already great in itself, the education that you get there. Also, just doing as much as you can within the time constraints of, let's say, school. Like if you're doing a show at school, that should be your first priority. But if there is something that you want to audition for out in the real world, just make sure it doesn't conflict. Make sure that you're able to do it with your schedule. I'm not sure what OSHA's policy is on doing outside shows, but
you know, actually, I can speak to that only because one of our newsies is an OSHA student, and they worked really, really well with me. That we just had a conversation, and a lot of times programs, if it's the right opportunity, I know Caitlin Humphreys, who was in this room earlier. I don't know if she still was able to be with us, but she was a senior at Cal State Fullerton, and we cast her as Lucille the first time we did Parade. and that was just, she got credit for doing that instead of being in their show. But a lot of schools will work with you. I think it's all about communication, because if you don't communicate, that's where you get into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, just do as much as you can. Do as much as you can. Like, that's more practice and more experience will make you a better artist as well as a better person. So keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Okay. I see Maya had her hand up.
Richie Ruiz, Gigi had been.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll go Richie, then Maya. Okay, Maya?
Right.
Okay, and I'm just looking for Richie. Can you keep your hand up real high so I can find you? There you are. Okay, buddy. Thank you. And you are on, Richie.
Hi guys, you're all amazing. Oh my gosh. I want to ask the cast, what do y'all sing at the audition?
Oh, Kelly, you want to go first?
Well, I was very lucky. I had an appointment, so I sang from the show. So I sang Watch What Happens. Just the first time I went in, it was like the very end. And then at my final callback, I sang the whole thing, which I'm so glad that you had me do, because it is
Welcome.
It was a marathon. And you're like, well, can she do it? Try it. So that's why I sing those. Sing Watch What Happens.
All right.
For the call, I sang Go the Distance from Hercules.
Oh, I'm sad I missed that. I bet that was really good.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. So yeah. And then I sang Santa Fe for the callback.
And then Corey, do you want to talk about what like the ensemble had to do for callbacks real quick?
I'll just tell you, it's such a dance heavy show, but we got great singers that came in and persevered. This is a very high show. It's very tenor, and we had some baritones, but these baritones sang full out tenor, first tenor, a lot of them. And when we were asking them to try out first tenor parts, which live up on A, some goes up to C sharp above the staff. And then I had them do it again, and then again, and then again. Because I need to see you had the endurance. It's not like you just have a C sharp once. You got to have it over and over again. This is after you've been dancing all day, and all night. And they did, because a trained voice is a trained voice. And if you don't have a trained voice, your stamina won't be there, and you'll sound hoarse. And nobody was. They were really. It was a long audition process, and they all stuck through it. But yeah, I chose the high stuff. I'm a jerk. I don't know. We had them all sing the high stuff.
That's what this is. I mean, like, auditions and callbacks it's kind of a pass or fail. You know what I mean? Like, that's why for Watch What Happens, we had the women sing the end, because it was like, you can or you can't. You know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, now let's see beyond that, who's gonna tell us the most interesting story. You know what I mean? And have them do the whole thing. And so yeah, it's always gonna be different at everything, but you're always gonna have the hard, usually if they're smart, you're gonna have the hardest material, so kind of gear up for that. And if you know that it's not in your spirit yet, then you gotta, maybe that's not the show to go out for, because it's you gotta be able to hit it pretty hard, and the show hits everything hard. It's insane, and we're very blessed with the people we got. Okay, you said Maya?
So Maya, you're up.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm actually from Cerritos, so I know that's the first stop.
Sorry, yeah, our only stop, actually. It's not a tour, so it's exclusively for you.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question about equity. So is it possible to be cast in an equity show while not being an equity actor, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So there are some shows that are full equity productions, and then like every contract is different, which makes it super confusing and great for everyone. You cannot work on Broadway, for example, without joining the union. So those are full equity productions. South Coast Repertory is a full equity production, I think most of the time. La Mirada has a ratio where they have to have X amount of equity actors before they can cast non-equity actors. So if they have a cast of 50, and let's say they have to have 17 equity actors, and then the rest of them, you know what I mean, or not 50, maybe it's they're not doing Oklahoma, but say they have a cast of 30, then the other 13 people can be non-equity. With 3D, we have a minimum of 6 contracts that we have to use on a show, plus 2 stage managers, so 8 equity contracts. We have another bank of contracts that we can pull out of our bank and use them as we need. So some shows will have more or less. We kind of kept banking them for King and I, thinking that we would want and need them in that show. So that show will have more equity actors in it than the rest of our season did. But as a non-equity actor, you can audition for anything. And a producer, whether it's a full equity show, they can give you your card if you literally, like, that doesn't cost them anything to do that. It costs you because you have to pay the dues and all that and the initiation fee. But or you can audition for a mixed show, like a 3D show, and be cast as a non-union performer where you're still getting paid pretty decently, and then work your way into becoming an equity member at some point. So yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we wrap this?
I see Alex. Alex has a-
Yeah, hey Alex.
Hey guys. All right. So good to see you too. With specifically for Dylan, and Kelly might be able to answer this as well. Since you've done the role a couple of times, is there anything that Jack, like the character of Jack, has taught you, or something that you've done maybe more than once, Kelly, like a really, really important lesson the character gave you through like the evolution that you kind of just took away?
I love that.
Wow, good question.
I feel that I took away during the show, especially with Jack, especially having a great connection to the boys off stage as well as on stage is essential for this kind of role, because he's the leader of a group of boys, and if he doesn't know all the boys and have a connection with each boy individually, then it can be surface level. Like and both times I've done it, I've made it a point to really get to know each and every newsie, so that I can, when I look at them on stage, there's that connection. There's that hope and that feeling like, I know you and we're going to get through this. Like that's I feel like what I've taken from it is the ability to look at the camaraderie on and off the stage and really cherish that, because in shows you only get to do that for a certain amount of time, and you only get to do a certain number of shows, and so when it's over, it's like you want to be very proud of your experience, and not only on stage but off stage. So yeah, I make it a point to do that,
develop those relationships. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Kelly, do you have anything for that?
The only roles I've done twice, I did Phoebe Dicewith twice in Gentleman's Guide, and I did Sister Mary Amnesia twice in Nonsense.
Oh, fun. Oh, that was fun.
And I guess doing multiple Disney Cruise Line contracts, I so much of it for me is keeping it fresh, is making sure that each time I do it, even though it's now the second iteration of the show, of this character, that no matter what, it always feels like the first time. And so much of that for me, coming from, I feel like comedy is my strength, is finding the funny. And I love knowing that like the comedy is just as mineable as any emotion in a show.
But her keeping it, I will tell you, I'd be like, Kelly, oh my God, that was perfect. Okay, now just do that again. She'd be like, what did I do? And I'll be like, no! Because she's so fresh and she is so in the moment. And I'll be like, you did this thing. Like, you always do this thing. And she's like, what? I don't know. And I'm like, so now, like, going into like my second time directing her, I'm going to be like, I almost like want to video her and be like,
that might be not a bad thing. But I think comedy, there's such a rhythm to comedy, of course, and there's a mathematical equation almost to it sometimes, but some of it is just being in the moment and being truthful. Because one of my favorite things somebody said to me was, it's not funny to you, it's only funny to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so
true. I love that. So we have time for 2 or 3 more questions before we have to wrap, because we have no classes after this. I know I see in the chat.
Jesse JK has been waiting patiently. Are you ready to go with Jesse?
Yeah.
Where did you go? You just disappeared on me.
Hey.
There. Oh, there you are. Okay. There you are, Jesse.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So a question I would have is, right now during this time, a lot of actors who don't have work or a lot of auditions or shows that they were in got canceled. What advice would you have for those actors to prepare for any upcoming future events? Like during this quarantine, what steps could they take to get themselves ready to get back into the flow?
Okay, so a big thing that we're doing in school right now is like learning how to self-tape. And I've done a couple. So this is kind of like, I don't know, it's fun to really, that's all my assignments are just self-tapes. All my assignments for school right now are self-tapes. Really getting to know that kind of atmosphere. 'Cause it's kind of an interesting thing. Look, like you're doing lines or singing a song and a camera's filming you, and it's a weird atmosphere. No one else is around you. And so that comfortability with that, I mean, you can just work on that and do your favorite lines from like a show or like a monologue or something, and just get that practice of feeling what it feels like to do a self-tape. That can help a lot. I mean, what do you think, Kelly?
Kelly, what do you have?
I think working on self-tapes is so smart because it is becoming so much more prevalent in casting these days, because it's not, people on the East or West Coast can audition for anywhere now. It's not, you don't have to be based anywhere necessarily. So I definitely say yes to that. And if this is the time, I mean, we have been gifted with this time of unendless time, which seems horrible, but then you're like, wait a minute, I can actually use that to become more flexible, work on my juggling.
Oh, yes.
Extension and juggling. No.
So like use this as do you never get to actually like listen to musicals or hear the new works that are out there? I know that that's something that I struggle with. So maybe this is the time that you get, there's so many great apps. Scribd, however you say it, SCRIBD is a great app, and on it is like loads of librettos. Go out and read loads of shows. Like just you've been gifted with time.
Yeah, and think of it as a positive instead of a negative. And I want to just tag onto that, in that it is now a world where self-tape is a thing. So investing, if you have the money, if you don't, you have to figure out how to be resourceful. But you need to get a background for yourself. If you don't have one in your home, you can get them for like super cheap. Everything you want to make that people can see your eyes and connect with you, and that you have good lighting on your face. We've been doing some content creation and workshops specifically on this, so look for those and tune into that, because we can go into more depth on it. But yeah, getting material on tape so you're at the ready. If you have access to footage of yourself, getting a reel made for yourself so you can send that out. And then educating yourself on new material and strengthening your skills and stretching and all of the things. So that's a good point, Kelly. Do you have anything to add to that, Corey, before we take another question?
No, people think that production happens by others. We are producers. All of us here in this discussion are producers in some form. You can write a poem, you can start writing some melodies. Whatever makes you more creative makes you a better actor. Whatever makes you more creative makes you a better musician or just a human being. And because you care about this, you should be writing something. I mean, write your ideas down, think about your perspective. Now's the time to try this out, because every actor at some point in their career, especially Broadway, they want to have their own material to control, because it's really hard to put your life in everyone else's hands all the time. And the farther you get in your life and your career, you want to control your creative material as much as possible. And if you have time now, and you've always wanted to write something, and because you are your own vehicle, and so if you can self-produce, you can also perform your own material. Jessica, I think we should had that conversation a while ago.
Yeah.
She was one of my actors in the show, it's important for us to realize that you do have the power to write, and you don't have to wait for someone else to do it for you.
Yes, amen. I see. Now is the time to seize the day, Maya. It's going to be time. We have probably time for one more question.
Nia has been patiently waiting. Let me unmute her. Hold on just a second. There you go.
Hiya. So if you weren't in the musical theatre industry or performing industry, what industry do you think you would have went into? Or can you make out my accent? Yeah?
Yes. No, yeah, I got the question.
That's all right.
I'm kind of going, oh man, I do have an answer for that, but do you all have answers as well? Do you want to go first, anyone?
Go first.
Okay, so when I was younger, I went from a Disney animator. I used to love to draw and create. I wanted to be a Henson Muppeteer really, really bad, because it was also kind of creative and fun, and loved that aspect of things. So yeah, those are probably things I would have done. I actually got great satisfaction waiting tables. I randomly loved being a server. It was at a really great restaurant though, and I made really great money. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, anyone else?
It's so funny. They say if you can see yourself doing anything else, do that when it comes to like being an actor. So it's like really hard for me to go, well, what would I do? Because if I could see myself doing that, then I probably would.
It's the chorus line question. What if you can't dance anymore? What do you do?
I direct. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like something else in the industry, you know what I mean? I think that's great. I love that.
Makeup or something, or I love costume. I love.
That's actually.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's actually why I direct and produce, is because I have my own, which I won't bore everyone when we're already over time, but like I have my own story as to why I stopped acting, because I needed to change what I was doing. So yeah, that question it's a great question. Dylan, what about you?
Oh, okay. I have kind of the same situation with Kelly. I've been doing this since I was like very little. So this is like, I don't know. This is my first. This is me. I don't know. This is what I love to do. And but I've in high school I was really into film, like directing and putting films together, short films together. I also maybe might become a magician if I didn't do.
I love that.
Actually, when Disneyland opens up again, I might be working at the magic shop. You may see me there. I'm like, hey, if Kelly can juggle and I can do magic, we can put it together and
boom. I love it. Corey, what about you? Final answer.
Oh, I feel like I've lived all my careers in succession. I like being a music director because I get to do everything I've always wanted to do. You know, sing, act, play piano, write, conduct, all those things. But my favorite role is just being a dad, and I have to say this quarantine has been wonderful for our family time. You know, if there's one thing I wish I had time to do, is just be at home, and here I am the last 3 weeks being with my wife and kids, and I hope I get sick of them. You know?
I think you and I both identify a lot on that same level, because our jobs keep us away so often, and I've been trying to, in order to be able to stay positive, think about the blessings that this is, and that definitely is the biggest one, is more time with family, and that's been awesome. And those of you that are experiencing that, amen, and please say a prayer or put out good thoughts or whatever it is in the universe for all the don't have that right now. Who I have so many friends on this chat and other places that are having to shelter in place by themselves, and that's its own special, I'm sure, gift and hell all at the same time. So please send love and thoughts all out to everyone there. So that was a great question, and a great question to end it on, you guys. I cannot thank you enough for being here today. There's so many amazing things coming this week. We have Lisa Loeb coming on randomly. If any of you are old enough to know who that is, she's amazing. We have Megan Trainor coming on, all about that bass, It's gonna
No
be
way.
fun. Yeah, Megan Trainor's coming on.
No way.
You have Annalisa Vanderpool from That's So Raven and Raven's Home coming on Friday. She's a good friend of mine. And then also like we're doing a thing tomorrow at 3 p.m. where literally all the main players in casting, we have Julia Flores, we have Amber Sneed, we have Michael Donovan, we have people from Joy Doing from Disney. We have literally like all the casting directors coming to talk, and we have Bren from Musical Theater West. We have like all of them coming to talk and kind of crack that whole conversation open about how do I book, how do I get seen, how do I this, how do I that, and just have a great roundtable discussion with them. Later in the week with Mr. Corey Hirsch and every other amazing musical director and accompanist in town, we're gonna have a big old roundtable with them about how do you get the musical director to fight for you in the casting process? What do you do to get them on your side? So a ton of awesome content this week. If you're not following us, please do so. And stay tuned. We love each
I could piggyback on that. I want to, again, on behalf of all of us here at 3D Theatricals, we want to thank you so much for joining us for 3D+U programming. If you like what you see, please share it on your social media, what we're doing. We'd love to get everybody in the pool. The more the merrier. So if you would be so kind, or if you have ideas or comments about what we're doing, what you love, what you maybe could give us some suggestions on, please just, send us a message, Facebook, Insta. There's so many ways to contact us. We're so thrilled. Again, on behalf of all of us, we want to just thank you for being with us, as this was an amazing class. We'll also have forums with playwrights and stage managers and people who've been in the industry as a working character actor for a long time, and we'll just have so many great stories to share with everyone. So please keep an eye out on our Facebook and Instagram and our e-blast for daily schedules.
Yay!